There are two mindsets that really helped me over my career. One is ownership mindset. Another one is a service mindset. Ownership mindset to me is more like, instead of waiting for others to assign tasks to me, I will go out there, look for opportunities where I can contribute. If I see something that's not working well in the team, I will raise my hand and say, may I take this on and get this resolved? And then I will follow through all the way from the beginning to the end, and I will not give up until it's resolved. Service mindset is really shifting your mindset from how can others help me to how can I add value to the team? How can I help you to do your work better? Those two together is very, very powerful because it creates credibility. Finance sometimes can be mistaken as the police in the room, right? So I always try to show up in a way that see me as a partner, how I can add value to the team. I bring facts, but also solutions, options, trade-offs, and a clear recommendation for the team to move forward.
As a tunneling field engineer, there is a lot of pressures you have to balance. You have the pressure of the ground pushing back against you. My last tunnel was 7 bar of pressure. We have hyperbaric interventions, a very high-risk operation running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for months on end. There's grouting pressure, hydraulic pressure, scheduling, cost, safety. You have all these different pressures building up against you. But honestly, the hardest pressure I face is the pressure that I put on myself. I can go and help save our tunnel from being stuck underneath New Westminster, but getting me to share my opinions in the room to strangers, having some of those hard conversations, feeling like a total imposter, your own mental pressures bearing down on you. I always say that everyone in the industry has to prove themselves. But as a woman, you have to prove yourself over and over and over again. So when I'm able to see the women around me succeeding on their paths, following their passions, coming to the table and handling their pressures with a balance of confidence and vulnerability, it gives me the confidence to do the same on my path. It takes an entire team on all different levels to build a successful infrastructure project. And we are currently building the infrastructure of our society that gives us the space to show up and be who we are, whether that be an executive leader in a high-rise office or 50 meters underground fixing a tunnel boring machine. There is space for all of us here.
Wanting to have an impact on communities is not a simple challenge. It's not something that you just decide one morning, oh, I'm going to change the world, right? It's something that takes a long time to reach. And it requires power, inner power, but it also requires strategic power. And as women, sometimes with the isolation, we don't have the confidence it takes to push ourselves further and to actually figure out how we'll have that impact that we're seeking to have. Je pense vraiment que les femmes amènent quelque chose de différent au projet de transport et projet d'infrastructure. Elles amènent une façon de reconnecter le social avec la technique. Elles amènent une sensibilité, ce qui pour moi est tellement plus puissant que seulement de la technique. Et en amenant des femmes à la table, on ouvre aussi les discussions à d'autres points de vue. De cette façon-là, on n'a pas seulement des projets qui sont bien faits, mais on a des bons projets.
Early in my career, I was doing sort of everything right, working very hard, but I was also burning myself out through the process. And it wasn't getting me the sense of joy, impact, or purpose that I was looking for in my career. So I asked myself one question: what is the worst that could happen if I continue like that? And I came to the realization that I might fail in the eyes of other people that I respected, but I may never end up also in the place where I want to be in my career. And it's only once I come to terms with that everything really changed for me. I decided to quit my job without having anything lined up in front of me, but with the objective to find a career that was really aligned with my purpose. Now at Alto, when I'm faced with challenges, I find them exciting, and every time I have to do something that scares me, in reality, it sort of brings me to the next level. Alors s'il y a une chose que je veux que vous reteniez de mon histoire, c'est vraiment de même si vous vous sentez pas prêt, c'est de y aller, faites-vous confiance même si vous y allez peut-être échouer. C'est vraiment juste à ce moment-là que vous allez commencer à grandir puis vous allez être fiers de vous-même.
So growing up, I didn't see any representation. I didn't know that construction or engineering could be for me, because nobody ever told me that it could be. It wasn't until a number of years later when I was sitting in a pub in the Cayman Islands with a group of guys, and they were sitting there talking feverishly about construction. They were talking about formwork, they were talking about concrete, they were talking about rebar, things I had absolutely no clue about. But all I could think to myself is, I want to do that. I want to be part of something that's so tangible, something that lasts. When I became Atlantic Canada's first female construction manager for EllisDon, it stopped being about the technicality of how I lead, but it started being more so about who I was as a leader, how I wanted to show up for my team. I've made it my legacy and I've made it my mission to make sure that we rise together. And that means never leaving anyone behind. That means together we rise. I'm from Atlantic Canada, so I truly believe that rising tides lift all boats. When one person is successful, the group is ultimately successful.